happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy, 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 happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy, 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 happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you all. Happy Monday. I pray that you all are well. I'm actually um just making an edit real quick, and and we're gonna get started. All right, Jesus. Let's see. We're gonna get started. Reload. Okay. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. All right. Y'all give me just a second. Just trying to fix something real quick. Okay. Happy Monday, everybody. I pray that you all are well. I pray that your families are well. Happy Memorial Day. Let me just say this. Memorial Day is, in my eyes, kind of bittersweet. Where, from my understanding, we honor those who sacrificed their lives so that we in this country can live with some type of freedom, right? And protection. And so for me, it's kind of bittersweet. But I just want to honor, first of all, those who are gone, who have sacrificed their lives to keep us safe, and also to honor those who are active in military, as well as those who have served in some capacity. So welcome to Transformational Mondays. I am Dr. JaNee Mobley. I'm affectionately known as Dr. JaNee, and I help women overcome mindsets that prevent profit, progress, and prosperity. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and most of all, welcome to Transformational Mondays. You may be asking yourself, what is Transformational Mondays? Transformational Mondays is all about me providing you specific and simple strategies to change your life and ultimately your business and all of the things that you desire to do in an effective way. It comes from the foundation of the scripture, to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And when you look up the Greek meaning of transformation, it means to change, right? It means to change. It means also to renovate. So the tips that I share with you are to be used for you to ask yourself, how can I make myself better? How can I change and improve who I am? And most of all, if you have a relationship with God, you want to ask yourself, God, what is it in me that I need to change? What are some things that I can make better to effectively serve you and serve those who you have called for me to serve? If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Text this link out to about 2 or 3 people, and feel free to share tonight's live. Tonight's live is very near, dear, and special to me. While I love entrepreneurship, I understand that there are a lot of people who have sacrificed their health and their relationships with others and themselves, all for the sake of building a business and pursuing their passion. One of the things that I desire to do as a coach to my clients, and even as you all with my audience, is to teach you all that you don't have to sacrifice your health and your relationships with yourself and those that you love, all for the sake of building a business. People talk about hustle and grind, but my desire is to build business with heaven and grace, with the wisdom of the word of God, and with the grace of God giving me the strength and the wisdom to do it effectively. Because I truly understand that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So he's not going to tell me, hey, build this business, pursue your passion, but at the same time, neglect your health. At the same time, make yourself sick because you're not consuming the right foods, nor are you exercising or strength training. He's not going to tell me to build a business, right? And to make money all for the sake of destroying my marriage and destroying my relationship with our children. So tonight I want to share with you all something that is personal to me. And I'm not telling you all theory. I'm telling you all exactly what I have learned over the course of being a woman, a wife, and a mom, in addition to being an entrepreneur and working while I'm building my business. Upcoming this Thursday, I'm hosting the Mindset to Movement Masterclass for those of you all who are ready to overcome the mindsets that are stifling you and preventing you from really moving forward in your purpose. So let me give you all a quick story and where this all came from. In 2000, really probably at the height of what was it? The pandemic. I was one of the parents who were sheltered in place. Our daughter she had just turned 1, and our son, our oldest son, was transitioning. Well, he literally was in kindergarten, and shortly after I found out that I was pregnant with our another son, right? I was sheltered in place with 2.5 children. My husband was working on the outside of the home, and I was literally home with our children for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and also focused on building my business. And it was then that I truly learned the importance of taking care of me. Right? I truly learned, because even before the pandemic, I would exercise. I would take 30 minutes out of my day and I would exercise. But I found that it came in most while I was home with our children. And I became hyper focused and hyper intentional about taking care of myself, because again, I was at home with 2.5 small children for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for over a year. And while some people probably get great joy in that, I'm one of those who truly believe that in order for me to be my best to other people, I first must be best to myself. I'm going to say that again. In order for me to be best for my husband, for our children, for my business, for customers, for everybody, I must first be best to myself. And that is the first thing that I want you all to understand. And you all may have heard this before. But if you've ever boarded a plane, they always, hi Artie, thank you for joining me. If you ever have boarded a plane, they always tell you, for security purposes, God forbid this plane loses air on the inside, they tell you that the mask will fall down, right? And the first thing that you must do before you take care of the person to the left, the person to your right, the person in front of you, before you see about the person behind you, before you see about your child who is traveling with you, your mother, your father, it is not a coincidence that they tell you to put your mask on first. And I want you all to visualize this. If no one can breathe, right? How can you possibly be of your best in strength, mind, physically, mentally, and emotionally to be able to grab a mask if you are struggling to breathe, to put it on somebody else? And if you all have ever seen what these masks look like, they tie behind your ears, right? They go behind your ears, and there's a cup that covers your face. So if they're losing cabin pressure, and let's say, God forbid, the plane is going down. God forbid this happens to anybody, but I'm just giving you all a perspective of the importance of making sure that you are priority, right? And let's just say air is coming into the plane from the outside. You hear all of this wind and you're struggling because you haven't put on your mask first. You're struggling to breathe. You're struggling to gasp for breath. You're struggling to think, because we understand, and if you all didn't know, if you are struggling to breathe, it is challenging to think. This is why clean air is so important. Because if you don't have clean air, it's hard to have the mental capacity to think about what you should do next. So it's no coincidence that in a procedure of a airline losing cabin pressure, it is no wonder that they say, hey, before you go to helping the person next to you, right, you, front of you, behind you, make sure that you put on your mask first, ma'am. Put on your mask first, sir. So why? So you'll have the air. So you'll be able to breathe. So you'll be able to have the strength in your body, the strength in your lungs, the strength in your mind to be able to look to your right, to look to your left, and actually be able to think and help the person who may be panicking next to you, who may be having a whole fit, who is losing it. You have the mental capacity and physical ability to calm them down and let them know that we're going to be okay, but we got to get this mask put on. So when you're talking about prioritizing yourself, how many of you all have put everybody on your list? Right? You make sure that your children get to the doctor, your husband appointment is set. You make sure mama and daddy are all right. You make sure the job, everything in terms of your job and your position is set. You make sure that if you own a business, that your customers and your clients are taken care of. And then we get to about 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock p.m. Oh, it's 11:59 and you never made any time for yourself. And then you go into the next day. And guess what? You got to prepare the kids, get them dressed, get them out of the door, get everybody to their appointments, get everybody to their practices and all of their activities. And then it's still again 10:51 p.m., 11:59 p.m. And guess what? You still haven't done what is necessary for your well-being. I was watching a video the other day of a wife and a mom who took care of everybody else. And now she's wearing a heart monitor. Why? Because she poured out so much, but she never took the time to pour back into herself. This is why I am very intentional. And that's number one. How do we, and I'm going to share with you all three ways to prioritize yourself so that no matter what is going on, you make sure that you take care of you. I tell my friends this, that I create moments where I can be my first name. Not mama, not wife, not daughter, not company owner, not all of these different people or hats or responsibilities. But I understand that in order for me to be the best wife, the best daughter, the best mother, the best servant to the people that I'm called to serve, is I have to be at my best. And in order for me to do that, I have to prioritize me. So number one, how do you prioritize yourself? Number one, the first thing that you must do is you must be intentional. You got to be intentional about that thing. And what does that mean? Daily, monthly, you got to think about you. Even if it's the simple things. When I'm intentional, I'm hyper focused. I'm focused on making sure that whatever it is that I intend to do, I make it a priority. See, when you look at the notes section on your iPhone, right, they allow you to prioritize your task, right? They give you low, medium, and high. I want you to be so intentional that you make you a high priority. Because here's the reality. If you don't make yourself a high priority now, and yes, everybody got to be taken care of. Yes, you got to take care of your children. You got to take care of your husband. You got to take care of all these people. But what happens when you have neglected everybody? You've neglected you. And everybody else is taken care of. And ultimately, God forbid, you become ill and you have to be hospitalized. Guess what? Everybody's going to have to figure life out. Love you enough and love them enough not to put them in that position intentionally. So you have to intend now to say, you know what? I'm going to create time for me. And it's a requirement. One of the things that I did, and this was me being intentional, every night, I literally have it set in my phone still. I would say, because I literally during the pandemic, God gave me the wisdom to say, you know what? Yes, your son is going to be homeschooling. You're going to be home with these children all day again. But guess what? You make them go to bed the same time that you would have had they been physically going to school. So they would go to bed at 8:30 every single night, 8:30 p.m. And at 9:30, guess what mama was doing? Mama was having tea time. And I coined this, that tea time is my me time. It's while everybody is asleep, my husband included, because he goes to bed early. So everybody is asleep. The children are asleep. My husband is asleep. I go in there and steep me some tea. I put my feet up and I sip my tea. For you, it may be sipping something else. It may be coffee, whatever it is for you. You have to be intentional. And so much I literally, let me see if I have it in here. I literally, here it is. Can y'all see it? Hold on. I don't know if y'all could probably see the reflection. There it is right there. Excuse my ugly nail. But I have it as a reminder. You have to have, it may be a reminder on your phone to do whatever it is. It may be tea time. The other thing that I do in the middle of my day is I give myself 30 minutes. Again, it's in my phone because it reminds me, JaNee, be intentional. Right? Because if you don't intend to do it, the time will pass by and you'll look up again and it's the end of the day and you are pooped and you are done. And you feel, and what gets me is a lot of times people feel bitter, they feel aggravated, they are all of these emotional things, but it's because you haven't created boundaries, not even for yourself. So if you haven't created boundaries and intended for you to be healthy, how do you expect other people to see you in that way? You have to be intentional about that. So if it starts with you, number two is, I was going to say this. Number two goes in to understand. No, that was going to be the last part. Sorry. So you got to be hyper focused on it. Number one, what you can do in terms of being intentional, plan it. Put it as a priority in your phone and have an alert go off. If you get so caught up in work or so caught up in things, be intentional about it. I don't care if you take a walk. Put it as a reminder, because here's the thing. People get used to what they've always done. So if you're not used to making yourself a priority, then initially it's going to be challenging for you to make sure you always make yourself a priority. So that's why I literally put in my phone tea time at 9:30 p.m. and it goes off every night. Number two, how do you make sure that you prioritize yourself in your day? And this is so you can be effective because, again, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. And it's amazing. I was watching this short that my friend sent me on the stats of how women treat themselves in terms of the likelihood of heart disease and the likelihood of divorce and all of these bad relationships. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, no, we're going to dispel this because this ain't every woman's story. We are in a position where we can change that. My husband and I have a 6-year-old daughter. We have 2 sons. So one of the reasons why I'm very intentional about it, because I want to teach them when you become married, when you become an adult, when you are a parent, to make sure you always prioritize yourself. If you aren't intentional about it, who is going to be intentional about it? Don't wait until you have heart disease and you are on a monitor or in someone's hospital that you decide to say, you know what? I need to make me a priority. Okay. Number 2, in terms of 3 ways to make yourself a priority, you have to understand that in order for you to be your best, in order for you to be the best to everybody and everything else, you must first be best to yourself. I always say this. My goal is to never, ever again pour from an empty cup. If I had a physical cup in here, I would show you all a demonstration. A lot of people, and so many people are wondering why people are so wound up, why people are bitter, why people have attitudes, why people are so emotionally jacked up. And you don't even have to go far. You can go to a restaurant, you can go on social media. I mean, people are just airing it out. And people are really, really, really messed up emotionally and mentally. And one of the reasons is that they are unwilling to confront the things that are bothering them to the place where they desire to get free. See, some people get used to being comfortable in their discomfort because they don't want to do the work that is required enough to be vulnerable with themselves, to transform themselves into whom God created them to be. So it's just easier to just stay that way and complain about it because that's who you've always been. Lies. But you got to understand this. You can't be the best wife, best husband, best parent unless you are your best self. You got to be your best self. And that starts with you making you number one on your list. And no, that is not selfish. Putting you and making you number one on your list is not selfish. Let me ask you a question. If you were taking an Uber, would you want the person who's driving you to be the person who's not well rested? Or would you rather the driver be well rested, well fed, and energetic and alert and awake to get you to all of the destinations that you desire? I want you to think of yourself as that Uber driver. How can you effectively lead your household and your company when you are drained, when you are not well, when you are not feeding your body the necessary things that it requires, when you are not feeding your mind and your soul and your spirit with the right things that your body needs? There are so many people walking around here pouring from an empty cup. And what does an empty cup look like? I want you to picture what water does. Water is hydration. Water, if you went without food, you would be fine. But if you would go without water, you would literally die. Why? And think about it. It's no wonder that our bodies are made up of over 60% of water. Water is needed for nourishment. It's needed for production. It's needed for plants and animals. It's needed. Hey, it's needed. So when you pour from a cup that is empty, you're pouring from someplace that is dry. When you think about what is dry, a dry place is the desert. There's not too much production. Oh, God, that is so good. There's not too much production in the desert. There's a cactus. There's cacti in the desert. There are some animals, very few in the desert. So what am I saying? When you pour from an empty cup, you're pouring from bitterness. You're pouring from a place of dryness. You're pouring from a place that's not hydrated. You're pouring from a place that's not well. But when you refill your cup, and what does that look like? It looks like feeding your body and your brain with the right things. It looks like reading the word of God and feeding yourself the bread of life. It looks like reading and listening to podcasts and things that are going to build you and build you in your purpose. Think about if Jesus wasn't well. How would he have been effectively able to do all of the miracles that he did, that God used him to do? Just as Jesus was well, and just as Jesus was well enough to perform miracles, Jesus ain't physically here no more. But he lives in those of us as believers. So we have to be well enough to go out and physically allow God to do the miracles through us. But if we ain't well, how can we do that? How can we do that? If you all haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And make sure you join me this Thursday. You think this good? Thursday is going to be amazing for the Mindset to Movement Masterclass. So make sure you click the link below and claim your spot, right? So you must understand, in order for you to be the best for everybody else and be your best at what you do, in your purpose, in your business, in your passion, you must be best to yourself. And lastly, I want you to start simple. This is the third way to prioritize yourself. One thing about me is that I am very big on being very simple. Life can come with enough complications, but start simple about prioritizing yourself. Identifying what is the first thing you need to do. So I'm going to be honest. When was the last time you went and got a checkup? When was the last time that you've gone to the dentist? When was the last time that you've taken time to just stop and hear your heartbeat? When was the last time that you decided to get up, put on some walking shoes, or just walk outside and embrace the beauty that God created? When was the last time? When was the last time that you just sat down and laughed at a show, or just been by yourself so you can restore yourself? When was the last time that you created time to journal or do something that you enjoy? Start simple. Let's not overcomplicate this. If it's the doctor's appointment, go ahead and make it. And here's the thing, if you're afraid of what the results are going to be, there are a lot of preventable diseases and illnesses if they're caught in time. If you go, expect nothing but the best. Expect nothing but the best. And as far as your oral health, one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people neglect their oral health. Do you realize that your mouth is a part of your body? And one of the greatest ways that a lot of people have developed sepsis is because of poor oral health. And note, the greatest entry into your body is your mouth. So start simple. Even if it's just taking a walk. One of the things that I do is I literally, like, especially when I'm like working a lot, I am intentional about stepping outside of the house. Because for me, it's something about it. I know what it is. It's God's nature, right? It's that vitamin D from the sun, and it's that fresh air that I come in contact with once I get from behind closed doors. So start simple. Identify what is the one thing that you're going to do daily to make time for you, and do it. Remember that you got to be intentional. You got to understand, in order for you to be best for everybody else, you must take care of yourself first. And lastly, start simple. As you all move forward, make sure you hit me up and let me know how prioritizing yourself is coming, because it's essential. I appreciate you all. You all have a dynamic Monday. And remember to know your worth. Good night, y'all. Bye.